Lena's apartment was a cramped, yellowed box in the sky, barely a home, more a holding cell. The walls seemed to close in a little more each day, stained by years of city air and loneliness. The single bed was always neatly made, as if she hoped someone might visit, though no one ever did. The only window let in a thin slice of light, just enough to remind her of the world outside, but never enough to make the space feel alive. The city outside was a roaring sea of people, but inside, Lena was an island of one. She could hear the distant hum of traffic, the laughter of strangers, the endless pulse of life, all just out of reach. Sometimes she pressed her forehead to the cool glass, watching the world move on without her. She worked at a coffee shop, smiled at strangers, but it was all an act. Each day she poured coffee and exchanged pleasantries, her real self hidden behind practiced words and a tired smile. No one ever asked about her life beyond the counter. At night, the silence pressed in, heavy and suffocating. The apartment seemed to shrink, shadows stretching across the floor, filling every corner with a quiet ache. The city's noise faded, replaced by the ticking of the old clock and the sound of her own breathing. She'd eat alone, listening to the scrape of her fork, wondering about the lives behind the other windows. Sometimes she imagined the stories unfolding in those distant rooms, families laughing, friends gathering, lovers whispering secrets. Her own dinner was always quiet, the only company her thoughts. Her own story felt invisible, a single page lost in a city-sized novel. She wondered if anyone would ever notice if she disappeared, or if her absence would simply blend into the city's endless noise. In crowds, she was a ghost. At work, just the barista. She moved through the city like a shadow, unnoticed and unremarkable, blending into the background of other people's lives. Nobody knew her, not really. She kept her secrets close, her dreams even closer, afraid that sharing them would only make her feel more alone. The anonymity that once felt freeing now felt like a cage. The city's promise of endless possibility had faded, replaced by the reality of isolation and routine. Lena longed for someone to see her, to truly notice her. But the days blurred by and she remained unseen in her little yellow box, waiting for something, anything, to change. Lena's only comfort was her window, a portal to the world beyond her walls. Each night she'd sit in the dark, watching the building across the alley. Lights flickered on and off, silhouettes moved, lives unfolded in silent vignettes. She imagined stories for the strangers she watched. Arguments, dances, family dinners. The window was her companion, her silent confidant. Curtains stayed open. She had nothing to hide. The nightly ritual grounded her, a small anchor in her drifting life. Through the glass, she felt a fragile connection to the city's pulse. She was the watcher, a witness to lives she'd never touch. In that role, she found a sliver of purpose, a reason to keep looking out. One quiet night, as Lena sat by her window, a new figure appeared in the window across from hers, catching her attention in a way she couldn't quite explain. The city was alive with its usual hum, but this presence felt different, almost as if it was meant for her to notice. A man, just a silhouette, stood motionless in the harsh glow of the light, his features obscured, his presence oddly magnetic and unsettling at the same time. At first, Lena dismissed it as another quirk of city life. After all, the city was full of strange sights and stranger people, and she'd grown used to the oddities that came with living among so many. But the next night, and the night after that, he was there again, always in the same spot, perfectly still, as if frozen in time. The repetition became impossible to ignore. Lena's curiosity slowly turned to unease. There was something unnatural about his stillness, something that made her skin crawl. She found herself watching him longer each night, searching for any sign of movement. He seemed to face her window directly, never shifting, never blinking, as if he was aware of her gaze, and returned it with an unwavering intensity. The comfort of her nightly ritual, her tea, her book, the gentle city lights, was gone, replaced by a growing dread that crept into her evenings and made her own apartment feel unfamiliar. The other windows faded into background noise. The man became her obsession, the only thing she could focus on as the city's usual distractions melted away. Who was he? Why did he stand there, night after night, unmoving and silent? Was he waiting for someone, or was he watching her? The questions gnawed at her, growing louder with each passing night, but there were no answers, only the echo of her own uncertainty. Only the silent, unmoving figure remained, always watching, always present, a constant in the shifting world outside. Her window was no longer a friend, it was a stage, and she felt exposed, as if every move she made was being scrutinized from across the way. And she was no longer just the audience. Lena realized with a chill that she had become part of a silent performance, one she never auditioned for, but could not escape. A week passed, and the man's presence became unbearable. Lena tried to ignore him, but her eyes always returned to his window. She needed to see more to make him human. With trembling hands, she zoomed in with her phone. The image was blurry, but clear enough. He was facing her, always. The realization chilled her. She was being watched. The roles had reversed. She was now the observed. Her apartment felt exposed, her privacy invaded. The window was no longer a comfort, but a spotlight. The man was her audience, silent and patient. The silence in her apartment was now the silence of someone waiting. Knowing he watched her changed everything. Lena moved through her apartment with new caution, avoiding the window's gaze. She tested his attention, standing in different spots, peeking from shadows. No matter where she was, as long as the light was on, he was there. The city's anonymity became a threat, every face at work a possible watcher. Her home felt like a glass cage, her fear growing with each night. She considered calling the police, but what could she say? A man is standing in his own apartment, looking at me. The logical answer was to close the curtains. But closing them felt like surrender, like letting him win. She was trapped, exposed if she looked, defeated if she hid. After 2 weeks, Lena broke. The window's terror outweighed its comfort. Tonight, she would reclaim her space. Heart pounding, she avoided the window, dreading his reaction. She took one last look. He was there, as always. With shaking hands, she drew the curtains shut. The city vanished. So did the man. Relief flooded her. Her apartment was hers again. The darkness felt safer if lonelier. For the first time in weeks, she slept deeply, believing it was over. All it took was closing the curtains. A sound woke her. Tap, tap, tap. It was sharp, insistent, slicing through the silence of the night like a warning. She jolted upright, heart thudding, unsure if she truly heard it, or if it was just a fragment of a fading dream. It was 2 a.m., the room pitch black. The only light came from a sliver of moon peeking through the curtains, casting long, eerie shadows across the walls. The air felt heavy, thick with the kind of stillness that makes every sound seem louder. The tapping came from the window. Each tap was deliberate, as if someone or something was trying to get her attention, refusing to be ignored. She was 5 floors up. It couldn't be real. No tree branches reached this high, and there was no balcony outside her window. The thought sent a chill down her spine. She tried to dismiss it, telling herself it was just the wind or a trick of her imagination. But the sound persisted, deliberate, insistent, as if demanding her attention. Fear rooted her in bed as a shadow appeared behind the curtain. Tall, thin, unmistakably human. The outline was too clear, too real to be a trick of the light. It stood, motionless, just outside her window. Impossible. No ledge, no foothold, nothing to support it. Yet there it was, as if gravity had no claim on it. She pinched herself, hard, desperate to wake up if this was a nightmare. But she was awake. The pain was real, and so was the terror. The shadow was real, standing on nothing, 5 stories above the ground. It seemed to hover, defying logic, its presence impossible yet undeniable. It was him, the man from the window. The same figure she'd glimpsed in her dreams, now made flesh and shadow, staring back at her with hollow, unblinking eyes. Paralyzed, she stared at the shape, her mind racing for answers. Was she still dreaming? Was this some cruel trick of her imagination, or had her nightmares finally crossed into reality? The shadow didn't move, just waited. Its patience was unnerving, as if it knew she would eventually have to face it. She knew she had to act, to see for herself. Hiding beneath the covers wouldn't make it disappear. She needed to know what was truly there. Slowly, she pushed the blanket aside, legs trembling. Every muscle in her body screamed for her to stay put, but curiosity and fear propelled her forward. She approached the window, each step a battle. The floor felt cold beneath her feet, the silence broken only by the relentless tapping. Her hand reached for the curtain, heart pounding so loudly, she wondered if the figure could hear it too. The fabric felt rough and cold in her grasp. She had to know what was on the other side. With a deep breath, she braced herself, knowing that whatever she saw would change everything. Lena yanked the curtain aside, nothing but night and city lights. The window was empty, the building across the way was dark. No ledge, no rope, no way anyone could have stood there. Relief hit her in a dizzying wave. She pressed her forehead to the glass, laughing shakily. It was over, just her imagination. She turned from the window, scanning her dark apartment. Then she saw it, the black screen of her TV, reflecting the room. In the reflection behind her stood a tall, dark figure. Perfectly still, the man from the window. He wasn't outside. He was inside. Lena froze, unable to turn around, staring at the reflection. He had been waiting for her to open the curtains and to turn around.